For USCFootball.com, I'm Jack Smith, joined alongside Chris Treviño for instant analysis from USC's Wednesday night practice of the rivalry week against UCLA. Chris, what were some of your general thoughts from today's practice?
Well, as a reminder, it's Wednesday, so we have a very limited amount of time where we can watch practice, specifically only 7 minutes, and that's of team warm-ups. But outside of that, you still had that kind of same focus that we saw on Tuesday. That energy was high, that focus was there. This is a team that knows what's at stake coming up on Saturday, with the rivalry and everything, but they know it's a game. They win, they're going to the Pac-12 championship. We still felt that kind of energy today, but not a lot of observations from actually inside practice unless you want a detailed breakdown of how everyone looks stretching, which I don't think you do.
Well, yeah, and I feel like it's another day, too, where you feel the energy at practice. We talk with a lot of different players, talking with Alex Grinch as well, and they're not biting. They're not taking the bait about this big rivalry. Everyone's saying the right thing, and as media members, of course, you want to get them to say something flashy, but they're all saying, just another game. We're trying to take it and prepare for it just as we would any other matchup. DTR's comments, they don't mean anything to us. We have our own opinions and just all saying all the right things. So there's not as many notes from practice. But we did talk with Alex Grinch, and he did mention a lot of defensive philosophy stuff, as well as a pretty big claim about the UCLA running back, Zack Charbonnet. Break down a little bit what Alex Grinch said.
Right. I guess we can start with Charbonnet because he is arguably, maybe not arguably, but the best back in the Pac-12. Big and strong and fast, and he leads the Pac-12 in rushing and has, I believe, 13 rushing touchdowns. So the guy scores a lot, the guy makes a lot of plays, and he has, I believe, 6 games consecutively of at least 100 yards. He has rushed for at least 100 yards in every game but one this season. So this is not a great matchup for USC's run defense, which has been given problems all year when it comes to allowing big plays. And this is a guy, Charbonnet, who feasts on big plays. So this matchup with Charbonnet and just this whole UCLA offense in general with Chip Kelly feels almost like a final exam for USC's defense. They've been through a lot this year. They've had some ups and downs. But this feels like the game where they need to show out. This is the game where they need to come and play. In the Rose Bowl, it's on the road, technically, but this is the one where they need to match up with. And Charbonnet is a guy you have to stop early. You cannot let him going because he's a big downhill runner. And when he gets going and picks up steam, he's tough to bring down. So that was something that Alex Grinch was emphasizing, was getting in the backfield, stopping him early, and not to let him get going early. And, he busts a couple runs early in this game. What's to say he's not going to bust a couple ones late in this game when the game really is on the line? So that's a big philosophy point for them when it comes to Charbonnet. Stop him early.
Yeah, it was clear that Alex Grinch understood just how good Zack Charbonnet is. Not only is he the best running back in the Pac-12, he straight up called him the best running back that USC is going to see this year and that they will have seen so far into the season. And exactly what you mentioned and what he mentioned, stopping Zack Charbonnet early in the play is very important. That's what Arizona was able to do to limit the UCLA offense, make them pass the ball more. Zack Charbonnet is the kind of guy that even if you do hit him in the backfield, he might still gain 1 or 2 yards, but that's much better than letting him get out, get in between his blockers and run for whatever he wants, because UCLA does have the best yards per carry run game in the entire country. So it's very important that you stop them early on in the play, make them rush for even 3 yards would be a win against UCLA. You mentioned the name Chip Kelly, UCLA's head coach. Alex Grinch is familiar with Kelly's offensive schemes and seeing him in the past. What did you have to take from what he said about Chip Kelly?
Right, they specifically coached together while they were both at New Hampshire on the staff. Alex Grinch was the cornerbacks coach and Chip Kelly was the OC. And they coached for 2 years together there. And, he has a lot of respect for Chip Kelly and what he does on offense. And obviously they're familiar with each other. They know each other. And, when it comes to Chip Kelly, he does a lot of weird things with his offense. He's moving guys around, shifting them, bending the rules a little bit. And that's important for Alex Grinch and his defense is to, while they're messing with the rules, do not go off of USC's defensive rules, because if you stick to your rules, that's all you really can do. You cannot freestyle against the Chip Kelly offense, or they're going to pick you apart, and you're going to see a guy going behind you for 60 yards. So that's something they're really emphasizing is don't get in your head even when they're shifting or they're moving guys around or they're trying to throw you off. You have to stick to your rules, and you have to trust the guy next to you is also sticking to the rules, because they need 11 on 11. They need every guy doing their job. And that's also something that he mentioned, that even if all 11 guys are in the right position, you still have to go and make the play. It's not enough going up against a Chip Kelly offense to be in the right position. You have to still make the play. You can't have anyone being a bystander against Chip Kelly because he will make you pay. So those are some of the things that Alex Grinch is emphasizing this week when he goes against his old coaching colleague.
Well, and it's more than just two going against a Chip Kelly offense and all the rules that they could break. Going against DTR and Zack Charbonnet is a tough task for any defense, and then when you're in a Chip Kelly offense where even if you're in the right spot, Zack Charbonnet could bust by you, run for a touchdown, DTR could throw or pass all over you. It's a really tough call for a defense, and that's why UCLA has been so successful this year. And it feels like every week on Thursday we have a different piece or on Wednesday it feels like we have a different piece of Alex Grinch defensive philosophy when he's talking about, if you can make the play at the goal line, make the play right when they get the ball. Just so many different little things today. And I thought today's clearly was, even if you have all 11 guys in the right spot, you still have to make the tackle. And he was asked about USC's rushing defense improving the past couple of weeks. He just said that's disciplined football, and I think he wants to see a little bit more of that. Do you have anything more to take away from what Grinch said today?
It just kind of goes back to my earlier point of this being the final exam, it feels like, for USC's defense, because all these points Alex Grinch has said before in several different ways or in the same way. All about discipline, all about 11 guys doing their job, making the play, don't let people get started. All these things he's mentioned before, and we've talked about on Instant Analysis. So this just feels like they need to put it all together. If they're going to go out there and win this game, shut down either Charbonnet or DTR, because if both of those guys go off, they're not winning this game. One of them needs to be stopped. Chances are most likely needs to be DTR, as we know a scrambling quarterback has given USC's defense problems before. But if they, do everything that Alex Grinch has talked about all season, if they have a game where they can put a bunch of pieces together, they're going to pass this exam. And if the USC's defense passes, I think USC's offense is going to come out on top on this one. And USC in general is going to come on top on this one. So it just feels like a culmination of everything Alex Grinch has been talking about with us, to the media, and to the team. And we're going to see if they're going to go out and if they did their homework, if they studied, and we'll see what it looks like on Saturday in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, there weren't a ton of other notes from practice. One player you did get to talk to, though, that's stepping into a bigger role on the offense is running back Austin Jones. What did you gather from what Austin Jones had to say today?
Right, I was really interested to talk to a running back this week, whether that was Raleek Brown. They don't let freshmen talk, but maybe Darwin Barlow. We did get Austin Jones, and he's the guy, Lincoln Riley pointed out as being the guy from now on with Travis Dye down. And, just wanted to get a feel for what the mood was like in that running back room after losing an emotional leader like Travis Dye. And, Jones said it's still kind of light in there. They're still making jokes. They're still serious, but every now and then they call on Travis. They call him up and they ask how he's doing, and they quote miss him a lot. So they're still hurting a little bit, but they're still keeping that upbeat mentality. And he did note that without Travis, he was their vocal leader, so he's had to step up a little bit. But he admitted, Austin Jones did, that he is not a vocal leader like that, but he has found himself being more vocal this week. But overall, he says this week doesn't really feel any different to him in terms of preparation, because he is the man now. He is the number one back, but he says it's all, same old, same old. He's not trying to do anything different, just trying to be himself. And yeah, that's what it is.
I talked with Kyle Ford as well, the wide receiver, about Travis Dye. He said just the exact same thing. He misses him. He remembers playing with him all the way back in high school, noted just how much of a leader he has been for USC. I think it's clear that Travis Dye was missed in the second half of the game against Colorado. Everyone seemed to be rallying around him and playing for him. And even in this week, when there's so many things to focus on, Travis Dye is still a big piece of the Trojan brain so far this week. They all want him back at some point. Of course, it's not going to happen, but he is still a very big leader to this Trojan squad, and one that will be very missed. I'm not going to let you get out of here like last week without asking you for a prediction in Saturday's game. I believe the line we're going with USC -2.5. Who are you going with, the Bruins or the Trojans, against the spread?
I feel like everybody and their mama has been picking UCLA. That's just what the feeling is like on social media. Bill Plaschke famously has come out and said UCLA is going to beat USC. So that makes me want to go the opposite direction, and I think I'm going to be taking USC.
And do you feel like it will be closer to that razor-thin margin, 2.5, or you think USC can escape the Rose Bowl with less of a stressful win?
I feel like it's going to be a close game early, but then, you're banking on USC's defense to get a couple stops, whether that's a turnover by DTR or whatever, fourth down stop, whatever it may be. You're seeing a couple of those, and then USC is able to, their offense, to widen the gap a little bit, whether that's maybe like 14 points, 10 points, late in this game, and kind of play keep away from that point. That's the kind of formula I see happening. So I will say it's going to be a little bit over that 2.5 point margin.
All right, well, you heard it here first. Chris Treviño, one of the first guys I've seen online to back the USC Trojans in this matchup. Feels like there's a lot of, Bruins love online for who people think is going to win. And, of course, they're at home. They're not favored. But this USC team, it definitely feels like there's something different about them this year. Feels like there's a bigger energy this week. Clearly, they're not going to come out and say it to us, but it seems like they're really focused on this rivalry matchup. They all know what it means to the USC community and to USC in general. It'll be a great game. We're both going to be at the Rose Bowl, and it seems like a ton of people are. It's sold out. 70,000 fans. I'm curious as to how many USC fans they're going to be, but it's going to be a very big game for USC, the biggest of the year, and you heard it here first. Chris Treviño thinking USC is going to win. Do you have any last thoughts from today's practice?
No, I got nothing. It's really cold. I like to get into a warm building.
All right, well, that's where we're going to go, into the warm building. But thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you're checking out USCfootball.com for all the articles posted up until game time on Saturday. And subscribe here on YouTube at Inside Troy to watch all of our interviews from today and then all of the content surrounding Saturday's game. But that's all we've got for you guys today. A couple more sleeps, then it's Saturday, and we hope you guys enjoy the game. For Chris Treviño, I'm Jack Smith. Check out USCfootball.com for more.